One word, fiction. We've all heard of it. We all know what it is, and I'm sure that all of you here have experienced at least one form of fiction in your lives. But have you ever wondered if there was more to fiction? That's what Ayunindita Sofia, will be talking about today. Now, have you ever caught yourself liking a fictional character like they were a real person? Because I have. Maybe something about them stayed with you. Maybe it was the way they made you smile when you were going through something. Or maybe something they said made you feel like they understood you better than anyone else did. Let's be honest, it can really hurt when a fictional character story ends or when something bad happens to them. Sometimes we might even feel closer to them than to people in our own lives. This question might have crossed your mind before. Why am I even attached to a person that doesn't even exist? Well, stay calm, because what you're experiencing is the formation of a parasocial bond. Now, what is a parasocial bond exactly? Well, a parasocial bond refers to a one-sided relationship in which a person feels a strong sense of connection, intimacy, and familiarity with someone they don't even know. Most often, media personalities, celebrities, or in our case, fictional characters. Why do we develop them? Well, humans have evolved to thrive in groups, probably because 250,000 years ago, you needed to rely on other people to survive. And so we become attracted to and care about people if we have a regular enough exposure to them, says Dr. Arthur Brooks in an article published by Harvard Health. Fiction is more than just a story according to our brains. We often think of fiction as, oh, it's just a story, there's nothing important. But our brains don't. So what actually is happening inside our thinkers? Well, our brains are incredibly complex, and most of all, they are social. Like I said before, evolution has wired us to seek out and understand others. This is a survival mechanism and relies on several cognitive tools, like TOM, or theory of mind. Theory of mind is the ability to infer that other people have their own unique minds, beliefs, desires, and intentions. When we engage with a fictional character, we build a mental model of them, their personality, their quirks, their motivations, that is so robust that it is practically indistinguishable from the mental model we build for real-life friends. We aren't just hearing their words, we're predicting their actions, understanding their feelings, and we're actively participating in their mental world. Another key system is the mirror neuron network. Mirror neurons activate both when we perform an action and when we see someone else do it. They can also help us understand emotion. For example, when a character experiences fear, our amygdala, or the brain's fear center, activates. Our brains physically mirror their experience, creating real emotional responses to imaginary events. What are the impacts of these bonds? Okay, interesting, but what can we actually see in our own lives? Well, the effect of parasocial bonds can be seen in some core areas. First, moral development. Storytelling is arguably one of the most powerful tools for moral instruction. When we see a character deal with a difficult choice, loyalty versus justice, or truth versus mercy, our brains are engaging in an active process of moral reasoning. And through this process, we can learn to refine our values, challenge our biases, and create a more nuanced understanding of the world. Another is emotional regulation and catharsis. Fictional characters, they are a safe space to process complex emotions. When a fictional character overcomes a trauma, our brains are experiencing a form of emotional catharsis. We feel both the grief and the relief without any direct personal cost. This isn't about us escaping our problems. It's about us using another character's journey as a tool to navigate our own emotional landscape. To feel healed, to feel seen. You can actually experience a lot of these effects in fiction. How about we take a look at a scene from Teapot 17. You might be wondering, what's so meaningful about a talking pen and a talking pencil? Well, they both went through the same thing. They all lost their old friends, and Pencil is so stuck in the grief that she ends up destroying everything around her. And instead of dismissing her, the pen sits beside her and admits that he went through the exact same thing. But he said something simple, something that I think is meaningful. That he would have really regretted if he had let his sadness consume him. Why? Because all of his new friends, the new experiences, they are just as good as the experience the old friends gave him. And he reminded Pencil that all those old friends, they weren't meaningless. All the arguments, all the laughter, all the fun they had together, they shaped him into the person who he is today. This is what I meant earlier. Fiction can be an emotional release for us, but it can also teach us something. How can we apply these values? Well, there are a few steps to make your journey easier. First, pause and reflect. The next time a character's action deeply moves you, don't just feel it, analyze it. Ask yourself, why is this moment so powerful for me? The second step, identify the trait. Take the character, break it down into observable traits. For example, maybe it's the way they stayed strong in the face of failure, or their empathy for strangers. Take the trait you admire the most. And the last and most powerful step, take action. Take that trait, apply it into your lives. For example, if you admire a character's bravery, then take a moment to be brave today. Not in a fictional battle, but in a real-life situation. Maybe having a conversation that's difficult but necessary, or trying a new skill that you've been afraid to fail at all this time. These characters, the ones you see almost every day, they aren't just for entertainment. They are mirrors of our humanity. And they show us that we can learn to find a profound sense of connection and personal growth in them. I once told you in the beginning that I found comfort in people that didn't even exist. What I didn't tell you was that how they gave me the courage to live as a person myself. And maybe someday you'll find that person. Real, fictional, who knows? Or maybe you'll be that person for someone else. Thank you.